Good morning, you guys. Happy Monday. Welcome back to a new vlog, or welcome if you are new. Heading out early this morning. It's 8:41 because I have an endocrinologist appointment, but I'm really excited for this appointment. It's not just a 3-month endo appointment like I have. It's an appointment to begin the discussion of potentially changing insulin pumps. I need to talk to you guys more about this and like why I want to do this and whatever, and I will later in this vlog. I've been interested in trying out the Tandem Mobi, which is like the new tandem pump. There's been like a lot that has gone into this like desire to change, and then also specifically like choosing that one to want to switch to. I'll give you guys the whole rundown in a little bit, but I'm gonna head over that way. I kind of want to ask if they'll take my A1C because I don't believe it's good. I don't believe I'm going to be happy with it, and I think I need to see that number to like get myself back in check. But I don't know, because my appointment's with like the diabetes educator, not the endocrinologist, so probably I can't. But it's just a finger prick. Like they get my A1C from my labs, but also they do a finger prick in office. All right, let's head over. I didn't go on my walk this morning, so I'm gonna wanna walk Augie later on today, but I did get a good workout in, so that was nice. I was up bright and early this morning. I woke up at 6:30, so I could have time to at least do that. I'll give you guys the rundown for the rest of the day later on. First, let's go get this out of the way and see what happens. I think this is just beginning the conversation. It'll probably be a really quick appointment. We'll see. Back from my doctor's appointment. Let's chat. I'm getting ready for the day. So, as mentioned, that appointment was with the diabetes educator so that I could start the process of potentially trying out / switching to a different insulin pump. I know I'm gonna get all sorts of questions like why, who, what, where, when, so I'll talk about that. I'm gonna sit down once I finish my Spencer's so funny. I'm gonna sit down once I finish my skincare and we'll do like a full chat, but I just wanna say, I don't know. After I was diagnosed, while I was still in the hospital, I was told by the nurse, basically if you've like read my diagnosis story and everything, you would know this, or maybe I've talked about it before, but like when I was in the hospital in diabetic ketoacidosis, really severely sick, getting diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, no one was really telling me anything. The first I heard of the fact that I was like being diagnosed with something was this paramedic came in to do a finger prick on me. He lifted up his sleeve and he was wearing a Dexcom and he was like, don't worry, like I've been a type 1 diabetic for this many years, like you're gonna be just fine. That was the first anyone ever like told me. Like no doctor had been like, you're getting diagnosed with type 1 or this looks like type 1 diabetes. Like maybe they did and I just don't remember, but I don't have any knowledge of them ever saying that until I was literally up in the ICU. Like I had already been in the ER for hours, like I don't know, and maybe they did, it is all a bit blurry, but like no one was really telling me anything, and I just like didn't have any doctors explaining anything to me until I got up to the ICU, and the morning nurse was an angel, and I so wish I knew her name so that I could like give her a shout out. But the morning nurse, I'll never forget her. She was so sweet to me. She's the one that taught me how to give myself my first insulin injection. Like she was so important in that whole process, and the only one that I felt like was actually like empathizing with how new and scary everything was. And something she said to me was, no doctor or anyone will ever know your diabetes like you do. And at the time I was kind of like, okay, like yeah, like I don't know, it didn't really like resonate, I guess. But now I totally get it, because you go into doctor's appointments and it's like, you know diabetes better than all these doctors. And sure, like do they know your lab work more than you? Of course, like I'm not a doctor, I can't read my lab work, you know? But with stuff like management and pump changes and everything like that, the things they tell you, it's like they tell you like diabetes, like type 1 diabetes for dummies, like textbook facts that just don't necessarily apply. Just as an example, one of the questions that I was asked by the educator today was like, how do you treat your lows? And my shower is so leaky, I'm sorry. But I said, you know, my recent low snacks of choice have been juice, dried fruit, gummies, like fruit snacks. And she was like, okay, all of that's good except for dried fruit. And in my head, I'm like, well, I understand what you're saying. You're probably saying that because there's some fiber in there. So I understand what you're saying. But like I wouldn't use dried fruit if I was like 50. I would use dried fruit if I was like 70. But I'm not gonna like explain this to her because there's no point, you know. But then she proceeds to say, she's like, great options are soda, candy, raisins. And in my head I'm like, so raisins are dried fruit? Sorry, but I'd rather have dried fruit than soda. Raisins are dried fruit. And also, like, dried fruit is actually works really great. And it's like one of those things where, like, you wouldn't know that because it's not in the textbooks and you don't live with type 1 diabetes. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, they always go into my chart and they'll, like, make comments like, oh, I see you, like, you are going in there and, like, making a lot of, like, self-adjustments. And I'm like, yeah, because... And they're not saying it in a bad way. They're just, like, stating a fact. And I'm like, yes, that's like one of the reasons I want to switch, whatever. And then they start making like, oh, well, you can change this with your pump or like whatever. And it's like, I promise I've tried all of this. Like, it's just, and it's, they really are helping. And I'm sure like, if you know, not like, well, actually I remember because when I went into my very first diabetes education appointment right after I was diagnosed, like everything she said was all brand new. Like I needed to hear everything. But it's, once you've lived with it, at least in my personal experience, it's like everything they tell you is just so obsolete and you're just like, and even like I had to correct her at one point, like, because she was saying, well, like, you know, you're still in the warranty for your pump. And I was like, I think Omnipod is the only pump without a warranty because that's why I chose it. And she was like, oh yeah, you're right. And just like things like that. And I'm just like, this is like, I should teach this class because, no, but they're like, of course she taught me things that like, well, I actually don't think I learned anything new, but I had to get that appointment in order to get a new pump. She did show me this one pump though, that's, I don't know what it's called, but it's really big and bulky, so I'm not interested in it, but you don't have to put in the amount of carbs you're using. It looks like a really cool idea and concept. I just don't, or like in theory, like the concept of it is really cool, but I just don't foresee it being super successful with like controlling as well as like Tandem or Omnipod or whatever, because you don't put in how many carbs you're eating. Like you just, the first like week or so of having it, you have to eat like kind of the same thing every day, and then it learns you, and then you go in every day and you say you're eating breakfast, then you click if you're having about the same amount of carbs as usual, more than usual, or less than usual, and then it like gives you insulin based on that. You don't ever put in carb numbers. And then she was telling me that that pump is eventually also going to have glucagon in it. So it's going to hold insulin and glucagon, which if you don't know, glucagon is an emergency low blood sugar treatment. So a lot of us have glucagon shots of some sort. So if we ever were to pass out, someone could give it to us, or if we're like seizing, someone could give it to us. Or if we, like, you can administer it to yourself, obviously, if you're aware, like if you're really, really low and you feel like your blood sugar's not coming up, or if you're just like really scared and or don't have sugar on you or something, like you can give yourself that, and it like is pretty much immediate, and it sends you up super high so that you're safe. And there's like a nasal one as well. So that's glucagon, and it's used in emergency situations. I've never had to use it before. And so that pump is eventually going to hold glucagon as well. But that freaks me out because glucagon is like powerful. And like, as someone who's afraid of throwing up, you often throw up after having glucagon. And sometimes like you get false lows with your continuous glucose monitor, which is the thing I wear that reads my blood sugar. Like they're inaccurate a decent amount. And like, for example, I just actually literally took it off. I have to put a new one on. But my Dexcom I was wearing on my stomach the past 10 days, every single night, I think, for the past 10 days was having what's called a compression low, which is when you are laying on your Dexcom and it gives a false low. So it'll say, I'm urgently low out of nowhere. And so that freaks me out because like, what if I had a compression low and then my pump just gave me glucagon, like, and I didn't need it, because like what's been happening, and I'm so happy I could have taken it off early, but honestly I'm just so burnt out, I was like whatever. But like what happens is my Dexcom like says I'm urgently low, like it says I'm like 50 or lower, and then my pump will stop giving me insulin because it thinks I'm really low, and then all night long I'm high in reality because I'm not getting the proper insulin I need. So like I'd probably, if that were to happen and I had that pump, like I'd be high and then I'd get glucagon and I'd go up even higher. Like it seemed like there's so much room for error, and I get very controlling, which like, it's like, I should, obviously, because it's like my body, my health, whatever, but like I get very impatient with pumps. Like I'm really bad about letting my pump like do its correcting itself. I feel like it's not harsh enough and it's not quick enough. So I'll go in and like give myself more insulin like on my own, like little micro doses. And you like can't do that with that pump. So I just don't think I'm the type of, like, that would be really great for someone who's like maybe really wanting to take both hands off the table and let technology do the work for them, which like obviously the technology helps me so much, but to some extent, you know, like I mean, no, it helps me significantly, but I only want it to have control to some extent. Like I don't want it to completely take over unless it's doing it seamlessly, but otherwise I can do it better. It's like kind of the mindset I have, which is one of the reasons that I'm looking to switch, but we'll talk about that. I just want to go get dressed. But quickly today, I'm gonna get dressed and I'm gonna go change my Dexcom, and then I need to clean my house. I didn't clean yesterday. I did grocery shop, but I didn't clean, so I'm gonna do a little clean and we'll do that together. And then I just need to do the typical posting, whatever. I think I'm gonna do like a catch-up Q&A on my Instagram stories, and I would just like to read or whatever, and then later I think I'm gonna watch Love Island. So nice chill day at home. I just had that thing this morning. Just mainly my main goal is I need to clean. Let me get dressed and then we'll continue the pump talk, because I know some of you who are type 1 diabetics will be curious. And then also I think it's just it's cool knowledge for anyone to know. I hear so many people, like my friends in real life, but also like my nieces. Like my niece is, how old is she, 6? And like she now notices people with like insulin pumps and stuff like that. Like it's cool to have that insight. And I've heard from you guys too, like you had no idea anything about type 1 diabetes or anything like that, and then like from watching my videos you know so much, and then you like will learn about it in school and like already know about it, or you'll like meet someone in real life and you'll already like know about it. And I'll get a lot of you being like, I never noticed people with insulin pumps or like Dexcoms or anything, and now I always see people in public, and it's like, it's so true. I personally, like I cannot remember ever seeing anyone ever with an insulin pump or a continuous glucose monitor ever. The only knowledge I had of type 1 diabetes before I had it was a boy in high school a boy I went to high school with had it, but he did injections and pricked his finger. So he didn't wear any of the devices. So I had never seen any of it. And it's just so crazy. And I should remember that, because I get so insecure about my devices, and then I have to like remember, like before I ever wore them myself, I never once noticed them. But it's funny because now I see people all the time with them on. So it's just funny. But I also think that more people are wearing them, and more people are wearing them visibly, which also helps, because I think people are just getting less ashamed of medical devices, which as we should be. I mean, I experience the shame as well, but it's like, and it's so silly. It's such a silly thing to feel shameful about, because if anything, I should be proud to be taking care of myself. Do you know what I'm saying? But whatever. Let me get dressed. You guys, I was doing injections literally 2 years, well, yeah, I was doing it 2 years ago. But I did insulin, like a day of injections rather than wearing my pump like 2 weeks ago. And I still have a bruise from one of my shots. And I forgot how badly those used to make me bruise. That was like my biggest thing. I was so insecure about it when I was first diagnosed, because I always was covered in bruises when I was just doing shots every day. Changing my Dexcom, I'm gonna put it back on my arm, because I usually like find that my stomach has really great readings, but I just did not have a good Dexcom at all. And it was just in a spot that I kept laying on every single night. And it was just inaccurate. It was always getting sensor errors. It was just simply not a good sensor, which happens every so often. But changing it, and then we'll talk pumps. I'm so excited though, because actually I didn't know this, because this is the first time I'm hearing of it, and I feel like I would have heard of it, but the diabetes educator today said that the new Dexcom, which is really small and has like a bunch of awesome benefits, like the warm-up period is shorter, you can warm up a new one while the old one is still on, like there's so many, it's so much smaller, there's so many cool upgrades to it, which I've been wanting to try it. And I've been waiting because the Omnipod 5, to my knowledge, isn't compatible yet with the G7, the new Dexcom. But she said it was, but that's the first I'm hearing of it. I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily true, but maybe it is. You guys will tell me if I'm wrong. I am excited because if I change my pump, I will 100% be using the G7, which is so small and so cute, and I've been dying to try it. It's like Nick Jonas always gets it before everyone else. That was kind of crooked, but maybe I need to do that. I'm just gonna put it right there and see how I feel. Can't tell if that's sideways or not. I think it is, but maybe we'll go in at a different angle. I wanted to try on like my back or something, but after that last 10 days, I don't want another bad one. Okay, cute. I always have to, oh wait, I forgot to put this on. Oh. I always have to go in with a wipe and wipe off the excess skin tack, which is like the sticky wipe I use. Otherwise, I mean, it's probably gonna happen anyways, but like the fuzz from whatever clothing I'm wearing always gets stuck to it. This is gonna peel off early, I'm calling it, because it's right where my armpit sweat would drip. It's gonna have red fuzz on it, I'm just gonna accept that. Now let's talk pumps. I came in my office because this is where all my diabetes supplies are, and let's talk about, I don't know, if you don't care, skip. I'm feeling like I want to talk about this. So this is the management plan that I use at the moment. So I use the Dexcom G6 and the Omnipod 5. So let's start with the Dexcom. The Dexcom is my continuous glucose monitor. That's the one I just put on. It reads my blood sugar 24/7 and sends me updated readings every 5 minutes. It reduces the amount I have to prick my finger, and it also just is, it makes my life a lot safer because I'm aware of drops in my blood sugar before maybe I can feel them, or same with high blood sugar as well. It just allows you to constantly know what your blood sugar is. It's a little bit mentally draining because like you always are aware. If your blood sugar is high, you're aware. If your blood sugar is low, you're aware. And that's the point. It's so that you can have better management, therefore better your health. But it's exhausting to constantly, whatever. Anyway, it's amazing technology. It saddens me that not every single type 1 diabetic has access to something like this. There's other brands of sensors. This is just the one I've always used, and it really irks me. I don't even want to get into that this isn't just handed to every diabetic, because it should be, because this is life-saving. Like, this has saved lives, period. So that is my continuous glucose monitor. I'm staying with the same brand if I do decide to it's not official I'm making the switch because I have to hear from my insurance and everything first, but if I do make the switch, I'll be sticking with the same brand of CGM, but I'll be using the new one, which this is just the applicator. This isn't like the whole thing. Obviously, you just saw me do it, but the new one is probably about this big. It's about like the size of a quarter, I would say. And the applicator is a little bit different, but it's so teeny tiny. And it's also a lot, it doesn't stick out. I don't even find that my Dexcom sticks out as much, but this one it sticks out even less. Its width is smaller. This is the insulin pump I use, and this is the Omnipod 5. So that's on this arm right now, right here. So this is where I put my insulin. So, oh, I didn't even say, I guess it doesn't matter, but I change my Dexcom every 10 days. This gets changed every 3 days. I'm pretty sure like every pump is every 3 days. And you fill it with insulin. You guys have seen me do it before. I've also done it on TikTok and stuff. But you fill it with insulin. And this is the only, as far as I know, the only tubeless insulin pump. So this is all there is to it. Right here. You fill it with insulin and you stick it on your arm, and that's that. The insulin pump I want is probably more like if you've like heard, or if you've like seen an insulin pump, you've probably seen a tubing, like an insulin pump with tubing, which is what I want to switch to. I want to switch to the Tandem Mobi. So the brand of this is Omnipod. The make is 5. The Tandem is the brand of pump I want to switch to, and its model or whatever, I guess, is Mobi, and it's their new pump. And I got to hold it today. The pump itself is probably about the same height as this, but it's just a little bit less bulky, something about the shape of it. It's just a rectangle and it's black. So it's a tubed pump, right? So that means that you have the pump and then you attach tubing to the pump, the clear tubing, and then there's an insertion site and it's a little cannula. Like the cannula is in this, but with the pump I want to switch to, there's the cannula separate, if that makes sense. What you do is you insert the little insertion site, then the tubing gets clipped onto that, and then that tubing is screwed in to the little black pump. And what I really, really like about the Tandem Mobi is it comes with the option to wear it on your skin, like the pump itself, or to wear it on your clothes. So you can get, or it comes with potentially, I'm not sure if it's separate or whatever, you get these little sleeves that you can stick on your skin, and the pump sits inside so that you can have it sitting on your, like if you want it on your arm. The tubing's like short, you can get longer tubing as well, but it's like you could have the insertion site right here, a little bit of tubing, and then it can sit in like a pouch or like a little sleeve right here, or anywhere you want, like your leg or whatever. Like if I'm wearing a dress, like I can put it on my leg or my arm or whatever and like have it in the sleeve. Or I can just have the little insertion site and then put the pump itself like in my pocket or clipped onto my pants. So it doesn't always have to be attached to my skin. The insertion site is always attached to my skin, but it's this little thing, guys. It's like just this little thing. Rather than and I always say this feels like an AirPod case stuck to my arm at all times. And it's great because there's no tubing, but it really feels incredibly bulky. So there's like a lot of things going into like my decision. So here's where I stand with it right now. The pros of my Omnipod are that it's tubeless, that the site change process is super easy because this is all you need plus your insulin. So it's easy to pack with me. It's quick. I know it well. It's the only pump I've ever had, and I've had it for over 2 years. So I know it really well. There's no warranty on it. So every other pump, again, as far as I know, there's a warranty. So once you agree to the pump, you have like a 4-year warranty, at least that's what it is for Tandem Mobi, where you're like tied in. I believe you can pay like out of pocket if at any point you are like, I cannot take this anymore. Like I think you can pay out of pocket and make the switch. I'm going to ask these questions when I have a phone call with Tandem. But yeah, you're technically like tied in for whatever the time period of the warranty is. Omnipod doesn't have that. So that's one of the reasons why I went with Omnipod when I was first diagnosed, because I just didn't know what the heck to do or what I wanted. And all I knew was it didn't have tubing, and to go from like wearing nothing on your skin to something with tubing sounded overwhelming at the time. And because there's no tie-in warranty, I went with Omnipod. Okay. So that's like the pros of Omnipod. I also have to carry around this. I call it my trap phone, but it's how I control my insulin pump. And like this is how I give myself insulin and whatever. But I always have to have this with me. So with the Tandem Mobi, which is what I want to switch to, first of all, it's controlled all from your phone. So I read my Dexcom on my phone, and I'd be able to also give myself insulin on my phone. So there'd be no more of this. I would just have the pump and my phone. And that is awesome. I love that. Another perk is, obviously I don't know from personal experience, but I found with the Omnipod, it's just not quite as harsh as I want it to be. I want it to be harsher on my blood sugars. Like I want it to make bigger corrections. And I also feel like no matter what changes I make to my pump, I always ride higher than I want to at night. Not necessarily high, but just because I'm not over 150 doesn't mean I can't be lower. Like I would love to sleep below like 120, but I always sleep at like 130 or above. And yeah, 130 is a fine blood sugar, but like it would be better to be lower. And I just find in general, I just like Omnipod is just a little bit too gentle. And I've heard from people that use Tandem that the control IQ of Tandem in general is just way better than Omnipod. And it allows you to like ride with a lot lower numbers, where Omnipod, like it's almost like Omnipod gets nervous. Like Omnipod's goal is to prevent low blood sugars and obviously high, but like it really aims to prevent lows, and it does that so well that I feel like I'm higher than I should be sometimes. And what I've heard is that Tandem's a little bit stricter with really keeping you in range, which I really would appreciate. I also, like I said, like I like that I can wear it on my skin or in my pocket. I like that if I'm swimming or showering, or even though you can actually wear the Mobi in the shower and swimming, as far as I know, they are waterproof to some extent. So is the Omnipod, obviously, because it has to stay on you, but whatever. But like you can unclip it at any point. So the insertion site stays, but if you want to unclip to like run around or swim or whatever, like you can unclip from it, which is nice because it's just like if I want to go swim in the ocean, sometimes I don't, because I'm like, I don't want this to fall off, whatever. And like, of course the insertion site could always come unstuck too, but it would just be nice to like unclip from my tubing, unclip from my pump, and just like go and swim with just my little insertion site and my little Dexcom. The only thing is, of course, the warranty. The site changes have a little bit more to them because there's the tubing and whatever, just there's like more moving pieces. And so site changes are a little bit more complex. There's more to bring with you when you travel. And things like that, but I would use the same insulin, which is good. The real reason I'm switching, like there's pros and cons to both, of course, and everything is so personal preference. Like there are people who are diehard Omnipod fans, and I am like, it's not that I'm not, I love my Omnipod, and I'm so glad I went with that for my first pump, and I would 100% go back to it. Like I'm not like, I hate Omnipod, I want to switch. I love Omnipod. I think the main thing is I just kind of want to switch. And I think bottom line is that is what I like, that's why I'm switching, or why I'm gonna at least hopefully try it out, because I have 90 days to try it out and decide before I'm like fully committed. And I think the biggest thing is I just want to change. Like I was explaining it, like it's just exciting in a way. It's the same feeling as like when you get a new phone. Like you already have a phone, but you get a new one, and it's just like exciting to like have like a new gadget. And that's how I feel about my pump. It's just like I already have one and it works fine and it's fine, but I just like want to try a new one. Do you know what I mean? It's the only one I've had. Like I've only ever had Omnipod, and I'm just like here, like it's kind of like, why not? And even if I like get tied in and there isn't an out-of-pocket thing, like it's only 4 years, and it's like, that sounds like a lot, but it's like 4 years of my whole life, and then I can switch again. Like, excuse me, mommy beeps. My Dexcom's warming up, that's why my insulin pump's like, I can't find your Dexcom. Oh, another really cool feature of the Tandem, then I'll shut up, is there's a button on it. So like, say my phone, or how about this? Because sometimes I get insecure if I'm like in like a business meeting, lunch or something. I get insecure to like pull this out and like give myself insulin. One, because I don't want to be like looking like I'm texting, but then also like I'm just like, I don't know, I just like don't like to like pull it out all the time. I don't know, it's like stupid, but sometimes it's just like a situation where you're like, or maybe you don't even want to, like maybe it's one of those situations, this happens to me, where like it's like I don't want to have to answer questions. So I'll just like under the table quickly be like, but with Tandem Mobi, like I said, I can control it from my phone, but also there's a quick bolus button on the pump itself. So like say it's like in my pocket, there's a little silver button that I set like how much I want the button clicks to give me. But like say I set it so that like one click is 1 unit and I need 2 units, like I would click it twice, and it would just like literally I could be like this, click, click, and it would like give me 2 units of insulin, which is really cool. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just like fun little features. It's like when literally it's like when you get a new phone and it has like new emojis, and it's like maybe stupid little changes, but it's just like, ooh, like quick bolus button. It's just something I get excited for because it's like something that's so prevalent in my life. It feels so much later in the day right now because I feel like I've gotten so much done because I was at the doctor's and whatever. It's only 11:42, so I'm gonna make some TikTok stories and probably post on TikTok. And then we'll get cleaning after I eat lunch or something, I think. Yeah, I would say so. But that's my whole spiel. That's why I'm wanting to switch pumps. That's what I'm thinking. That's my thought process. Everyone has their own opinions and experiences with all different pumps, and this is just mine. So figured I'd share. Lunch today, as you guys just saw, I made some tuna salad and I'm gonna have some crackers dipped in it. One of my favorites recently. But you guys, I have to show you this mug Natalie painted me. It's so cute. Look at Augie. It's so cute. I am dreading cleaning, and I really shouldn't because it really doesn't take too long. It's like an hour-ish out of my day. I feel so much better after. I just dread it so much and I don't know why. So I think I should switch it up somehow. I could start upstairs, come downstairs, and then vacuum downstairs first, and then vacuum upstairs, and then be done. Headphones going on. I'm gonna try to call my mom and update her about my appointment earlier, but 4 o'clock there. It's probably still working, so she might not be able to answer, so if she can't talk, I'll put on a YouTube video, but let's do this. Dusted. Ugh, that honestly felt really good. I zoned in. I kind of liked doing it on a Monday. That kind of felt nice. And like, then that meant on Sunday I had so much more time to just chill and hang and do whatever I pleased rather than like, oh, I really gotta, get some housework done. It was nice because it also split up. Like, I did still wash my sheets yesterday. And so like today, I didn't have that added in laundry aspect of cleaning, The only laundry I had was I put my towels away and some clothes that were drying on my rack. But that's like so simple and really not even laundry. I think that's just like a quick cleanup, but the house is looking so good. I'm feeling so good now that that's over with. And it's 2:12 now, so it's literally like, I genuinely don't know how it's only 2:12. I feel like I have done so much today, but hey, I'll take it. But I'm gonna take some insulin for a coffee. I'm gonna go downstairs and make. I'm gonna chill and do my Instagram Q&A on my phone, read a little bit, and then once it eventually cools off a bit more for the day, maybe around like 4 or 5, I will take Augie on a little walk. milk because he didn't get one this morning. But I don't know what it is, but I cannot get myself to a good temperature today. Every time I take my sweatshirt off, I get cold, put it back on, I get hot. I'm like, I can't get comfy. But let's make a coffee. Gonna put it in my snail mug. That is like stained from tea. Whatever. Do I want to froth the milk? Yeah, why not? I'm gonna froth up some oat milk and some nut pod, this pumpkin pie creamer to be exact. I'm going to do the sweet vanilla pod. This is like the full cup of coffee, 230 milliliters, which let me just tell you is too big for mugs like this, okay? I keep overflowing them and I need to learn my lesson. You need a big mug. I laid down on the floor because I'm charging my phone and there's just a plug right there. And now I can't get up. So I think I'm gonna do a little bit of reading laying right about here. Can you see it in my shorts? Hold on. I'm gonna do a little bit of reading sitting right here because I'm pretty sure I fell asleep. Oh, I thought I fell asleep in the middle of a chapter, but I'm just gonna read a chapter right now. It's only like 10 pages long. So I'm gonna read them on chapter 5. And I've been getting questions. I've seen a few questions here and there that are like, how do you make time for reading? Like, or someone else was like, I really aspire to make time for myself, like with exercise and reading and whatever, like you do. And to that I have to say, I think you spend more time on your phone than you probably think you do. And I guarantee, no matter what job you work or what you do with your life, I guarantee that you have, at the very least, but I am willing to bet it is so much more than this on average, but I'm willing to bet you spend at least 1 hour a day where you're just sitting on your phone doing nothing else. Whether that's before bed or in the morning or maybe during like breaks at work, whatever it may be. I guarantee you, every single one of you watching this has at least 1 hour a day where they are just on their phone. And with that time, you could be instead reading. So I guess I'm more so answering like, how do I make time to read? And that's my answer. It's just, you have the time, you're just probably sitting on your phone. Because I just don't think that we, myself included, realize how long. Like, you will sit and you open your phone and before you know it, an hour has passed. Maybe we don't even have to say an hour. Maybe we have to say 30 minutes. Like, there is time in every day where you are just wasting so much time on your phone. And I do it as well. But those are the times when you could be making time for reading. Again, maybe like if you feel like you only have 1 hour of free time every day because you're super busy with work or school or whatever it is, and you have that 1 hour, why don't you spend 30 minutes on your phone and read for 30 minutes if you're wanting to read? Or maybe you can't fit in time to read, but you walk on the treadmill every day and you watch YouTube videos on the treadmill. Maybe instead of watching YouTube videos on the treadmill, you read on the treadmill. I just feel like there's always a way to squeeze it in because you always have time to squeeze in scrolling on your phone. So that's my answer to that. That's at least my advice if you want to get into reading and you feel like you have no time. Or even bring your book with you. And if you are waiting for a doctor's appointment or you're waiting, I don't know, maybe you get to work early and you're waiting for your shift to start or whatever it is, and you have like 10 minutes to read, bring your book with you and just read a few pages here and there, and before you know it, you'll get through a book. And for me personally, like every time I start a book, I'm not so inspired, and then I get into the middle of the book and I'm hooked on the book and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to know what happens. And then I finish the book and I'm like, oh my God, that was so rewarding, I need to start a new book. And it becomes this like really awesome cycle. So you really just have to finish one book, I feel like, to get yourself in the swing of things. But with that being said, it's 4 o'clock now, 4:07. I'm going to read this one chapter and then I'm going to take Augie out on his little walk and give myself a little walk because I feel like I've been pretty sedentary the last few days. Look at me right now. Like I'm turning into a couch potato or something. See you guys in 10 pages. And you know what? If you see my double chin, we all have it, so leave me alone. sat down at my desk because I want to just update my to-do list for tomorrow and the rest of the week. So tomorrow's kind of a fun day. It's a little bit different. I am going to spend the morning editing a vlog, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I can finish it by 3:30 because I am going to grab coffee at 3:30 with somebody who I will be working with very closely on a project. And I've been talking about this project, hinting at it for like forever now, it feels like. But yeah, so I have that tomorrow, and like I said, I'm gonna edit and do my typical posting, and then I'm going bowling tomorrow, which is super exciting because we got Spencer like a bowling night for her birthday, but then Spencer hurt her back around her birthday, so we weren't able to go on her birthday, so we were able to get the date of like when everyone's going moved. So it's like me, Sophie, Spencer, and then like all of Spencer's friends. So I'm doing that tomorrow night, which is super fun because like bowling, I just love stuff like that. Like bowling, movies, like all that has just been like my cup of tea recently. And let me pull up my calendar. And then Wednesday, I'll probably vlog again. I have a vet appointment. And Thursday I have a dentist appointment. And I'm going to Pilates on Friday. Okay, I'm gonna leave that as that for now, but you guys, I am leaving for my pretty much month away, not quite a month, but a lot of September. I leave for that in like a week-ish, and I am just so beyond excited. And I left you guys on a cliffhanger in the last vlog. I was like, I'll tell you when I'm gonna start my trip, but I'm not gonna tell you anything else. And then Sophie called me and I got distracted. But my trip is starting in New York City because it's New York Fashion Week. So I'll be at New York Fashion Week again this year. But I'm really excited because Sophie loves New York. And you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of New York City. I actually think I'm going to like it this year more than in years past because I have adjusted to like living in a city of sorts. Like it's not New York City, of course, but I live in a city now. And I guess Tampa was a city as well, but it's just not the same. And so I like the city life. So I think I may like it more. I've just changed in general. My interests have changed and whatnot. I think I'll enjoy it more. I like going to wine bars and going out to dinners, and I just find more joy in like little things in life nowadays. So I think I'm going to enjoy going to New York City. But so I'm going with Sophie there, and then from there, so I'm there for like quite a few days, like a week essentially. And then from there, I leave for another 10 days or so. I'm going to a bunch of places and I'm really so excited, and I think you guys are going to really love the content, and I'm just so looking forward to it. I'm like starting to get a little bit like, okay, we have some things to do. Like I need to figure out the currency situation and all the places I'm going, which definitely just gave something away. There's lots to be done within the next week because I leave, like I said, straight from New York City to wherever else I'm going. And Sophie's a saint though, you guys, because she is I'm going to bring 2 suitcases to New York with me. And then I'm going to send one of those suitcases home with Sophie because Sophie is not coming to the next location with me. She's a saint for doing that. Obviously, I'm going to pay for the bag, but so it's going to be nice because I'm going to bring both bags, and then I can kind of do like a switcheroo so that I don't have to bring dirty clothes with me to my next destination. And anything I like buy but in New York City but don't want to take with me to my next location, like I can send home in that suitcase. So that is incredible. I'm so happy that lined up that way and that she's willing to do that for me. In fact, while I'm sitting here, I'm just going to go ahead and do a few Google searches and figure out some things for where I'm going. But I don't know why I'm like not telling you. I think I'll probably tell you where I'm going before I go. Like I don't think it's going to be a surprise. I just don't want to tell you yet. But I'm going to tell you eventually. Research has been completed. I'm honestly glad I did that because there's just some random stuff I have to do for my tickets. Like I just have to import some stuff and whatever. I'm glad I looked at that before the trip got too close, you know, because I have plenty of time to add all that in. I have like until within 36 hours of the trip or something, but I want to have everything sorted out as much as I can before I even leave for New York. I'm gonna open up a little soda. I grabbed these Culture Pops the other day. Was I vlogging? I think I was vlogging. And I've had the other two so far. I had the mango orange lime or something like that, the berry and lime, and then today I'm gonna have the watermelon and lime. So let's try it. My overall, well, let me try this one before I open my big fat mouth. Hold on. My overall consensus of Culture Pops are, I don't like them as much as Poppy or Olipop, but I think I'm comparing them too much to to Poppy and Olipop, because this doesn't give soda the same way Olipop and Poppy does, which is interesting because it's called Culture Pop soda. This gives more, what's that brand of sparkling water? Not Spindrift. I think it starts with an S though. And I know there's like a blood orange one. What is that brand? Hold on. San Pellegrino. This gives more that vibe, like the sweetened sparkling water type vibe. And when you think of it like that, it's better. So like, I wouldn't consider this in the same genre as Olipop and Poppy. This is more so on like the flavored water side. It's good. The flavor is good. There's a little bit of an aftertaste I'm not like super in love with, but something I do like about this is that there's no stevia or anything added to it, which I like the taste of stevia. I also like the taste of like monk fruit and like the fake sugar. I don't mind the taste of it at all. Like I think it's really good. I'm not someone that doesn't like the taste of that. But just because we're not like totally sure how all of them are super, like we don't know if all of them are super amazing for us to be consuming in high quantities, you know? I just like am not one to like be always searching for like stevia or whatever. Like even as a diabetic, I often prefer real like organic sugar over like a stevia or whatever, even though stevia is plant derived and so is monk fruit, so I think those are like the better options. But like I'll always prefer organic sugar over some chemical, you know what I'm saying? So I guess I'm not so much talking about like stevia or monk fruit. I'm talking about like aspartame or whatever. With all that being said, this has like none of that added. It's water, fruit juice blend, natural flavor, sea salt, citric acid, rosemary, vegetable juice for color, and then the probiotic they add in. So there's no, because I'm pretty sure Poppy and Olipop both have sugar of some sort added in. So that's like one thing that's different about these. But I feel like I like the like the sugary taste of the other ones. They make it taste more soda-like, where this one just tastes more water-like or more juice-like. I don't know, there's like this tanginess I don't love. Something about it. It's like missing a note. It's not flat in terms of like bubbliness, but it's flat in terms of flavor. But I mean, I like them. Would I purchase again? Honestly, yeah, probably. And unpopular opinion, I feel like, but I prefer Olipop over Poppy. And I feel like most people prefer Poppy over Olipop. But I think Poppy tastes too much like real soda. Like the Poppy Cola tastes too much like Coca-Cola, and I don't like Coca-Cola. I like Diet Coke. And I think Olipop tastes more similar to the diet soda flavors. So I think that's why I like Olipop better than Poppy, because Poppy's, it has that weird something that happens, weird flavor. Actually, this is kind of doing it too. Kind of, yeah. This, and then like full sugar sodas and Poppies all leave this like feeling on my tongue that makes me feel like not quenched. And then like diet sodas and Olipops and stuff like quench my thirst. I don't know how else to explain it beyond that. None of them are hydrating me, probably. I've been talking for 6 minutes about flavored water and healthy soda. Like, maybe I need to get a life. But dinner tonight, I'm not quite hungry yet. I did have a little snack about an hour ago. I had one of those chomp sticks, which I've been back on. I love those things. But dinner tonight's gonna be leftovers. I made a delicious dinner last night, so I'm gonna have that again tonight. I made a spaghetti squash, and then I roasted. I'm like kind of copying something I saw online. I don't have the recipe, but I saw a video of someone eating chicken Alfredo spaghetti squash, and I was like, I want to make chicken Alfredo spaghetti squash. So I made my own recipe based off of the name of that recipe. So I cooked the spaghetti squash, and then in the air fryer I put some mini heirloom tomatoes and some artichoke hearts. Is that what they're called? And I roasted those with olive oil, salt, and pepper. And then when they were done, I just like smashed them with a fork and then added in the Trader Joe's Alfredo sauce and stirred all that together. And then that became my sauce. And then I also, it's actually so good. I got this pre-cooked, lightly seasoned chicken from Trader Joe's. It's refrigerated, and you just boil it for a few minutes to like reheat it. And I cut it up and I mixed it into my spaghetti squash, and then added the Alfredo mixture on top, mix it all together. So good. Now this is the life. TV dinner. Watching Love Island. Soup is not for babies.
Soup is not for babies.
You have your food over there. Okay. We need to catch up on Love Island. Okay, this is not going to cut it, so give be a good dog. Perfect. Oh. Honestly, one of my toxic traits is leaving my tea kettle on far too long. But I'm making some chamomile tea. I'm gonna have my yogurt bowl. Cocoa June yogurt, back to trying that to see if my skin doesn't flare up as much from not having dairy yogurt. Granola, pomegranate seeds, blueberries, chocolate chips, and peanut butter. Oh, I also did some chia seeds. I need to read my book more tonight. I hope I don't get too sleepy watching the show because I really want to finish my chapter, and because it's getting good. I'm about to hit 100 pages, so it makes sense. I'm at like 70 something, but it's so interesting because it's such a short book. By the time I hit 100 pages, I'm like almost halfway through. I really, really, really love the way the book is written. There's so many sermons within it that's just like so relatable to the point where it's like it hurts me. Like it is so relatable as someone who grew up like so unsure of their sexuality, and like I had all these feelings and thoughts and whatever, and just like pushed them away as whatever, but also they left me questioning so many things, and I just sort of like continued to do what I felt like I was supposed to for so long. And that's exactly what the main character is doing, but she's like experiencing these feelings towards this girl, but she's not recognizing necessarily the fact that it's like presumably a crush. And it's just really interesting to read because it's like that is exactly what it feels like to be in the closet within your own brain and not having come to terms with your sexuality. Like that is exactly what it feels like. Like there's this one part, I won't like, this isn't a spoiler, and I won't even read the exact quote because I feel like you need to like read it and experience it, but there's this like one like paragraph where the main character is like explaining her hyperfixation on the spit in the mouth of this girl, and it sounds really bizarre, but it's like it's open. She's like describing the spit in her mouth, and I know it sounds like really wild, but you have to like read it in the book to like understand that's not just really bizarre. It's just like really beautifully written. Ugh, I need to finish that chapter. But Natalie just returned from getting her froyo. Back to Love Island we go. Okay, you guys, it's a little past 11, it's 11:15, and I'm about to do a bit of reading in bed. This is a little bit later than I like to go to bed, but when you start Love Island, you cannot stop. So, obviously I'm not watching it in real time, just you start and I don't know why my camera's going in and out of focus. It's honestly really annoying me. I love you guys so much. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I feel like it was a bit more chit-chatty. Not much went on, but I think it was a good in-depth vlog regardless, huh, sir? Well, Augie and I are gonna cuddle. I'm gonna read, like I said, I'm almost to page 100, page 80. So slowly but surely getting there. But I love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you so super soon in the next one. Good night. Augie, say good night. Say good. Your tooth is out. Good night.